Hello and welcome again to airgunweb.com. My name is Rick Utzler and I'm glad that you've joined us again today. I have to tell you honestly, I've been stalling for a long time about doing this review, partially because I promised this rifle to my father once I got the review done. Well, that was about a year ago, so it really is time that I finally do get to the review. We're going to take a look at this Walther lever action CO2 rifle. It's an 8-shot repeater, and frankly, it's not for hunting. It's not for taking out small game. It's just for having fun with. It shoots paper really, really well. I really wouldn't use it for anything beyond that. Velocities occasionally will reach up near 600 feet per second in a 177. It really doesn't have a lot of power to do anything but target practice with. But for that purpose, it's a very fun and accurate gun. Let's take a look at the rifle. The first thing you're going to notice when you pick up the Walther lever action rifle is just how well it's made. It's made from metal and hardwood, and the fit and finish is what you'd expect from a German quality CO2 rifle. The action is very smooth. It reminds me a lot of shooting my 30-30, and that's really why I bought it, because it feels so much like a real gun. The action and the weight, the trigger, everything is very, very nice in this rifle. This particular version of the Walther lever action came with the scope already pre-mounted. That scope mount is a little bit of a problem. I found that it will shift on you, and it will really impact your point of impact on your pellet. So you have to be careful to make sure that it doesn't shift around. Tightening too much will cause the action not to work smoothly. So I'd almost recommend not putting a scope on this rifle. Before we do any velocity tests or accuracy tests, I'd like to show you some neat features of the rifle, particularly how to load both the pellets and the CO2, because both of those are unique to this gun. Let's take a look at how to load the pellets. There's a little indent right here which looks a lot like your indent you'd have on a 30-30 when you're loading your cartridges. Well, when you push this, the arm opens up and holds an 8-shot rotary magazine. This comes out and you can load any pellet of your choice, slide it in there, close it, and now the gun's loaded. As we back up, I'm going to show you how we put the CO2 into the gun. The CO2 is housed in the butt of the gun, and Walther's did something pretty neat. Instead of just one CO2, they actually use two. Now you can remove this, and it maintains the pressure in the actual assembly. When you're ready, simply slide it in, close it, and now the gun's charged and ready to use. Before you shoot the Walther, it's very important that you cycle the lever. If you don't, what will happen is this rotary magazine won't properly line up and you'll wind up jamming the gun. I know this from experience because one of these little wheels that I got with the gun is now ruined. Unfortunately, I didn't cycle it. It got jammed, and when I pulled it out, one of the little teeth got bent and it won't cycle properly anymore. So fortunately it came with two wheels, so we're okay. But remember, before you shoot this rifle, you need to go ahead and cycle it or you'll wind up jamming your gun. Let's take a look at some velocities. The first pellet we're going to look at for velocities is, of course, the RWS Hobby pellet. It's a 7-grain pellet and will give us a good baseline on what kind of velocities we can expect out of the Walther lever action. Let's see. Let's take a look and see what kind of velocities we got. We had a high velocity of 575 feet per second, a low velocity of 533 feet per second, with an average of 559 feet per second, giving us a difference of 42 feet per second. Remember, with CO2, the more rapidly you shoot, the slower your next shot's going to be, because the CO2 will get cold and lose some of its pressure. We're going to take a look at the pellet that I know shoots the best in this rifle and see what kind of velocities we get with that. That pellet happens to be the Gamma Magnum pellet. It's interesting that that pellet turned out to be the most accurate, but sure enough, it does very well in this rifle. Let's see what we get for velocities. So as we review the numbers, let's see what we got. We had a high of 543 feet per second, a low of 511 feet per second, giving us an average of 527 feet per second, with a difference of only 32 feet per second. I didn't really pause too terribly long between shots, and the CO2 pressure did not go down that much. I'm guessing that because we have two cartridges, it helps equalize some of that loss that you may otherwise get with a single cartridge gun. We're going to move on to some accuracy testing. I know that the Gamma Magnum pellet is the best pellet for this rifle, so we're going to shoot a couple cards. Let's take a look and see how it does. Okay, as we wrap up our review of the Walther lever action CO2 rifle, I have to say I was a little disappointed with our shooting tests. I thought I had better accuracy last time I shot this rifle. Of course, that was about 6 months ago. And frankly, I think there's a lot of things that went into the kind of subpar accuracy we got today. One, as you can see, I'm wearing a coat. It's a little chilly out today, and that will definitely impact how CO2 performs. Two, I just haven't shot the gun in a while. Although, I mean, we did get about dime-sized groups. We're shooting at about 15 yards, which in a CO2 gun is not terrible. One thing we did run into a problem with is this scope mount. A couple of the shot groups, which aren't on the review, but what happened, this scope mount can actually get very easily bumped. As you can see, I can wiggle it pretty easily. That's never a good thing. I remember that I did try and tighten this up, but if you tighten it up, then you can't cock the gun. I don't know how to resolve that. It may just be a flaw. But once I realized that that was an issue, and I made sure that it was securely set to the top of the rifle, my accuracy really improved. So the groups you're seeing were the best groups we got. The rifle, I believe, is fairly pricey. However, it is all wood, it is all metal, and it's a great replica gun, and I think something like this definitely has a place in your gun cabinet, especially if you've got an inspiring shooter or maybe a young shooter and you've got your 30-30 and you can let them use something like this to get used to it. It's a very, very nice rifle for that. I know I recently had some family over and they really enjoyed shooting this rifle, specifically for that reason. Well, that's it for today. I think we're going to go have a cup of hot chocolate or something to warm our bones up. My name is Rick Utzler, and this is airgunweb.com. Thanks again for joining us, and I hope to see you again soon.